a shared expense.
So you can my nervousness of having those operating reserves depleted. It's scary, okay? The budget is the only opportunity that the citizen gets to vote the school budget on spending, not in the town, not in the village, not, nothing except for the school budget. And I think from my standpoint, a 2% increase, any increases, we all wait for the year when actually it goes down. And
we've actually had that.
We have?
Yes. Recently.
I missed it. No, but assessments go up. So the tax levy goes up in value because the assessed values go up, and yet there's still a need with those figures. So you have the current assessment values.
Last year's assessed values.
And yet we're subject to a new increase this year. So there should be a surplus once again of collected revenue for the school based on the raise in assessments. I don't
think that's how it
really
works.
no.
What it costs, that's not how it works.
It doesn't, because why?
Yeah.
It's paid following year or.
We set the levy, and that's all the districts are entitled to. So it doesn't matter what your assessment is.
Well, it's per thousand. It's per value.
It's
No.
an estimate per thousand, but we will never get more than what we've asked.
Yeah, it's 19.66 regardless.
But that's estimated. So that rate is not actually set until the assessment office sets it, and I believe that's in July. So that's just an estimate.
Between when we have to pass the budget
Right.
and when that information that would have been nice to have known comes in later.
And that
So
number
always a year behind.
And you can't collect more than you put out there that the voters approve. So it is the town of Hector, our assessments are in the process are just going up significantly.
Yeah.
Because the assessment went up, our levy actually goes down, but the figure we pay to the school remains the same.
Well, the levy didn't go down. But anyway.
Right, our levy went up.
Yeah.
2%.
In closing, I just wanted to ask the question, did I alienate anyone in my questions? Because for my wife's sake, I wanted to go back and tell her that I didn't. Let me make sure.
On camera, you could say you did not.
Good.
If you have those questions, other people have those questions, and it's important that we provide information to the public and that it's understandable.
And we are in good company. I mean, most rural schools are in the same shape we're in or worse.
It's costly here in New York.
It's really terrifying.
Yeah.
But I'd like to add that your questions are good questions. Feel free to come back anytime.
Very good.
I think we've all asked them in the past 3 or 4 months very similar questions around the room. It's nice to have somebody from the public not do that.
I was aware of that when I came tonight. I knew there were at least 3 of us.
Frequently, it's not. Any other questions? Okay, moving on, in this portion, we have 2 open seats coming up for this election. It'll be my seat and Frank Rossi's seat. Frank's obviously not here tonight, but I would highly, we had the opportunity to make a few remarks, but in Frank's absence, I'm going to, I have to say that Frank is one of the smartest people I've worked with. I think he's a pleasure to work with. I'm certainly satisfied with his leadership, and I truly believe he has what it takes to move us forward. And I couldn't say enough. I'm very proud to be on the same board with Frank. And in my case, this will be my, just finishing up my 3rd term. We've gone through some difficulty over the years. I'm glad to have been a part of it. And I'm very honored to say that we've gone through it. We're stronger for it. We've hired excellent administrators to to help us get to where we think we should be as a community. And the tough part may still be out there, but I think we weathered the storm well. And I'm excited for what the future holds for us, and I continue, and I would like to be a part of that. I built a relationship with our Senator O'Mara and Senator Mazzolio, several assembly people, and I'm confident when I pick up the phone and call them that I have an issue, that I can have lunch and discuss with them one-on-one, and I think that's been very successful. And every year it just gets a little bit more enhanced. And I still have one stone to overturn, and that is a fully funded pre-K program in the school. And I'm staying until we get it.
You might get there, John.
I'm just honored to have a seat at this table. Anyone else have anything to say?
Other than to say thank you for your almost 10 years worth of service.
It was only supposed to be a year or two, but here we are. So, thank you on that part. We'll adjourn now back to the regular meeting, and if you'll excuse me, I have another commitment that I have to go to. We have a quorum. On my behalf, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any agenda changes that anyone would like to make? Okay. Then we go to acceptance of the resignation of Michael Backo. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second. Okay. As it notes here, Mr. Backo has dedicated 27 years of service to Shermansburg Central School District. Mike, sorry you're not here to say thank you.
Yeah.
We will catch up with you later.
We will catch up with all our retirees that are June 16th, or they'll catch up with us.
Call the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carried. Okay. Now we move on to the open forum. At this time, we would like to give district residents an opportunity to ask any questions about this agenda or about operations within the school district. Personnel matters will not be addressed in public session, and comments may be recorded and responded to by the Board of Education or Superintendent at a later date. And we ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes or perhaps less. So do we have any comments? Any questions?
Sure.
Go for it.
I'm here. Joel Podcamer. How is the track and field project and the football field project going?
It's going very well. Right now, they've dug up the entire field. I don't know if you've seen out there.
Oh, yeah.
You've been playing tennis. Yeah, the field has been cleared off. They're regrading the whole thing, all new drainage, moving the lights back. Did they move the lights?
Already moved them.
Well, the pillars are in place. I don't think they've actually lifted them up, moving pillars yet.
I brought the train in, whatever.
Yep.
Track is being enlarged to an 8-lane track with a soft surface, certain kind of surface. New bleachers. I guess it pretty much expanded, the whole facility's a little bit expanded. And then there's other parts to that too, but so far it's going well.
Yeah, I've actually had the pleasure of going out with Mike DePerner, our construction manager, and walking around and kind of pretending like I know what's going on and doing a little inspection. But it's pretty impressive how quickly they've moved. And that huge pile of dirt here is the soil is all coming right off of the top of where the track was, and the whole facility, and most of that will go back on there as they rebuild it back up and grade it. But all the drainage and all of the irrigation and stuff has been installed now, as my understanding. So they're on track. No pun intended. Pun intended.
That's good. I am curious about, just a point of interest, I donated the trees that went around the tennis courts, and they were effective in blocking wind and doing job, I noticed on the west side, that the trees are gone. Were they lifted and placed and to be replaced, or is there in the project, and whether or not there's construction or wiring or drainage that's taking place in that area?
It's a drainage issue.
Is it?
In the back of the courts, that the trees, if they were taken out and reset, wouldn't survive because there's going to be a swale there. Maybe it's already started, they've already started to form that swale, I don't know, which will end up close enough to the tennis courts so the trees couldn't be kept.
Mhm.
We are going to replace the green wind block around all fences and try and keep all the rest of the trees on all sides. But that one side, it wasn't feasible because of the swale.
Yeah, the windy side.
Windy
Nevertheless,
side.
okay, I wanted to
Yeah,
know,
no,
because, I don't know any.
It was a consideration to try and save them.
Yeah.
And it was a hope that we would originally, but as it got laid out and that swale.
The scope of the land will change right there,
Yeah.
for the sake of drainage.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's why we lost. Thanks for the donation.
Well, it's come and gone.
We're trying to save several other trees.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, then, wait, oh, Kirsten.
It's my duty, because every time I'm here, somebody retires, or resigns. So I just wanted to be able to say, that it's been a privilege to know Mike Babcock and his amazing ability to make this place look the way it does. I don't think he ever gets enough credit for what he does. Just wanted to say that.
Was that a retirement or a resignation?
Retirement.
Retirement, good.
You actually think we'll let him resign?
I was listening, I was
You have to
peeling
resign
for
before
your
you
words,
retire.
but, and then I hear resign, did I hear retire?
Yeah.
So I'm asking.
Definitely retirement.
Great.
Okay, so we have presentation from the Garden Club?
Just a very brief presentation. I'm very excited. Antonia Demas, who has worked very hard with the food education program in the building, and they started the garden behind the elementary school last year, and we had a small group of students working with the garden, and we thought we would kind of formalize that group. It's our garden club, and for right now it's also very small until we can kind of manage a bigger group. But right now it's 8 third graders who on Tuesdays and Thursdays after school work in the garden with Peter Ott. So he's a master gardener from Trumansburg. So this is a great opportunity for kids that I can't wait till we can expand. We're also going to be planting fruit trees in the area between the library wing and the 3rd and 4th grade wing, so that students can see how fruits actually grow and where they come from. So we're really excited. Mike Babcock, again, has been an incredible help with that. So that's our garden club.
All that you need to do with B, which is recognition of the Garden Club. I need a motion.
So moved.
A second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Okay, moving on to committee reports, and that would be Peter.
Well, I don't have much to say, but
Did you have it already?
I have already. But apparently, my understanding is that the 2 memorial trees on that side will be left there. The cost of redesigning is that the road, instead of moving it 20 feet this way, it'll only be moved maybe 8 or 10, I'm not quite sure yet. Is about $4,000, but we do get a $12,000 credit by not moving the trees. Because the original intent was to move the trees and trying to keep them alive, but it's dubious that we could do that. So in fact, we're actually saving, we get an $8,000 benefit from that. I'm not sure we're going to save that. It might go somewhere else in the project. But there's a lot of give and take in this project for credits and overruns in various places, but this is essentially, we're saving those 2 streets. So that's all I have to say for now.
Doug?
I don't have much either, but at our last TSD BOCES Executive Committee, we did entertain a presentation from the director of the Workforce Investment Board, and are looking at developing a longer-term relationship with her and the Workforce Investment Board. They will be coming not only to us, but to other schools in the area, looking at what we are providing in terms of classes, skills, et cetera, and trying to connect, and it's really tough, trying to connect people in the workforce with the schools. We're just at the very sort of preliminary stages of doing that, but it's where we need to go.
So that would be
So,
giving students an opportunity to be able to work within our
possibly,
partners.
possibly, yeah. I mean, it's unclear. We're just getting it off the ground. That's also the group that does the teacher in the workplace program. And we had 2, which John has mentioned, 2 teachers do that last summer, was it, or was it the summer before, John?
We've had 2, actually, each summer the last 2 years.
And I'm certainly hoping we
Actually, I
will
think we
be
had 3 the first 2 years ago, we had 3
Yeah.
teachers that did it.
continuing that, and it might be interesting to be hearing from them when they return, to see what they've learned and how they are implementing what they have learned working in industry or business in the classroom, which is the purpose, to sort of connect the 2 worlds.
Thank you. Okay, we'll pass over since we don't have our African or Vangelis with us. Do we have any correspondence? No. Okay, any correspondence from here? Okay, and I noticed there are no bullets underneath the administrator's report, and that means that you have nothing at this moment to report.
Nothing to report.
Other than the garden report.
I'd like to mention just 2 quick things around staff development, professional development. Tomorrow's another half-day early release, and so our staff will be, all of them will be involved in professional development between probably about 12:30 and the end of the day. And it's a full slate of offerings intended to help us implement the Common Core standards in our classrooms, align instruction K-12, and improve our practice. And going along with that, Sarah Backus applied for and we received a response to intervention personnel development project grant where we'll get additional, you've heard us talk about RTI, which is focusing interventions on students who need additional support. And this grant will help us be even better, build our capacity to deliver those interventions more effectively. And we'll have a meeting here in the next couple of weeks with the state coordinator, so that's a good thing for our district.
Good, good. And I think as we have discussed earlier, that the administrative staff, we feel that these superintendent conference days are significantly valuable for
Yes.
teachers.
Yeah.
To give them an opportunity.
Immensely. Yeah.
Okay. We would like to continue to offer.
It's always a difficult balance to manage the instructional time versus professional time, but the benefits to the instructional time by having this time to work together collaboratively to plan together is just invaluable. So.
Right, and especially if we can plan it out so that our parents can anticipate what be a bit of an issue. Okay. We're on to the consent agenda. Motion to accept. So moved. Second.
Second.
Okay. So moved. And if I remember correctly, Ms. Raffles, you don't need to have passed on the consent agenda, correct?
Right.
Okay, do we have any new business? Do we have anything else that we need to discuss or questions or comments? Or then I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Is this open to the public
So-
for questions or comments?
Well, if you have something else, certainly before we adjourn.
I wanted to ask if we are able to take back any services from BOCES and carry them ourselves in the school. Is it a possibility to train professionally or in any of those services that we, because our budget, our cost goes up, BOCES. asks for a lot of money. Could we bring it down? Could we provide more services? Could we employ another teacher? Or, you know, and engage students in a more productive level for, you know, in that framework. You know.
So the benefit, and I think at some point the state will catch on to this, is that when we run services through BOCES, we get aid back.
Yeah.
And so that aid is hovering around 69%.
But, and how much of that aid do we give right back to BOCES, of that 69%?
Well, I think one of the best examples of how it works really well for us is the foundation donates money for certain endeavors for our district. And so if they make a $10,000 donation to the district and we run that money through BOCES for field trips for students, assuming that another district has bought into that same service, then that aid comes back. And so what happens is we'll get roughly $7,000 aid back the following year that we can then reinvest for those same field trips. If we didn't have that aid coming back, then that means the following year we'd have to come up fresh with a full 10. And so instead we only need to come up with 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a game. I would think at some point the state will catch on and say,
So it's a 2-year
enough of the aid. Yeah, yeah. But for us to pull things back from BOCES and then have to pay that full price up front each year would
Too
be
much.
to a disadvantage. It'd be a disadvantage for us.
It'd be almost, it'd be 1.5 times the cost.
Yeah, yeah. So anything that we can run through and get that aid, we absolutely try to.
Kimberly, can you address the sort of back office?
What do you mean back
For
office?
us?
Like,
Business
The
office?
business office,
Business
yeah,
services?
they call it.
Well, when I first came on board, we had payroll here in-house. And because we're a small school, we had one individual that did that, and that she did a wonderful job. However, her plate was more than full. So not only did she handle payroll, she handled workman's comp, she handled health insurance, Family Medical Leave Act, and she was definitely in over her head at the time that I came on board. The error in having one person in a small district was that when she was out, there was no one that knew how to run payroll. So we were highly dependent on that one individual. And although it sounds wonderful to have cross-training and to make that happen quite regularly, the reality is when you're a small school, you do it all, and there's not room within another person's day to maybe on a Thursday go and run payroll instead of the payroll person running it. That would be the ideal. So it made me very nervous. She was wonderful in that she would never take vacations when we knew we had to process payroll. She did say at one point prior to me being here, she had a broken wrist and she came in and she processed payroll anyway because people weren't going to get paid without her. So together we had explored the services at BOCES and we moved that service to BOCES.
I noticed it.
Were there some bumps? Absolutely. It was a transition. I feel like we have most of those bumps ironed out at this point. But the beauty in having it there is they run payroll for about 5 or 6 of our districts. And it should be seamless in that if the person that typically runs payroll for Trumansburg is out, there's somebody else that can step in and take care of that. So that level of worry at the district level is now gone, and I feel like our faculty can be taken care of if somebody is out at BOCES. Our school lunch specialist is also a shared service. We don't necessarily need someone here on campus 5 days a week, so we purchase that service through BOCES. It's less expensive for us because we share that individual with South Seneca. So again, that's another benefit in that we don't have to employ that person full-time. If we had to absorb that full expense on our own, chances are we would have to underpay that person. They'd be looking for other employment all the time. They'd want a full-time position someplace. So there are real benefits to pushing some of those services out to BOCES.
And in addition, we do review what we're purchasing in BOCES, so it's not always the same thing every year. And Sarah Vargas will actually takes a look at and finds out what services we need specifically for children, and what other services we would better serve them to do here in-house.
Here.
Yes.
Yeah, special
You do
ed.
look at it.
Special ed is a great example.
Because, you know, all the costs of busing and on and on.
You can think of it as a dance, depending upon what's coming into the school, because our needs change too. They're not static, especially when it comes to the students. So depending upon what we need, what we have to offer versus what we don't have to offer, then it ebbs and flows.
And there is a breaking point. If we, say, have 2 students that are high needs and need very specialized services, it would be difficult for our small district to offer all of those needs to those 2 students. But when we reach a point where we have 7 or 8 of those students with very similar services and needs, it's more cost effective to build that program here in-house, and that's one thing that we have done. So there are times when it is more cost effective to have it here because we can do it for less if we have the right number of students with similar needs.
And that number changes every year.
And it depends, yeah, and those services are looked at every year. Michael and I spent, I can't even tell you how many hours. We review the services, we go through them again. We make our first level of commitment to BOCES. We wait about another month, we go through them again. We make the second level of commitment to BOCES so that they can also build their budget. At the same time, we're building ours, but literally line by line, we go through each service. I speak with the appropriate administrator, and special ed would be Sarah, to say, you know, you have X number of kids in this program. We need that same program. Some kids age out, some kids develop the skills they need, they no longer need that level of service, they may come back to the district, so it really depends. But it's pretty time consuming, but it's necessary work that we do to make sure that we're not buying too many services and we're only buying the services that are absolutely necessary and that are beneficial to both the student but also financially for us.
The only thing we need is a crystal ball. So once we get that, then we can be pretty predictable.
Yeah.
So, any other?
Thanks.
So, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.